Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the broadcast. The Ministry of Education and Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert are currently under much scrutiny. The state of the education system in St. Lucia is in question as some schools are still unprepared to commence classes. Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire says the education system is in shambles. Shaka Wooding has more.
While classroom retrofitting and infrastructural work continue, many schools are still unable to begin classes for the 2019 to 2020 school year. On the government's program In Focus, Minister for Education Dr. Gail Rigobert stated that delays are not expected to be as long as in previous years. However, the delays, speculation on the St. Lucia Sports Academy, and the lack of a principal at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College leave many to question the current state of the education system. One such voice of concern is that of Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire.
And I think the education system is in total chaos. I don't think, I heard the Prime Minister telling students at Blasha yesterday he'll be building swimming pools at the Miko Secondary School. But the Miko Secondary School can't even open on time. And how are you talking about building swimming pools? So I really believe that the present Minister of Education is totally off cue in terms of where the education system is going. I think the government is totally off cue. All the promises that things would be fixed and would have a new education system and millions of dollars will be pumped. Sorry to say, they claim Philip Pierre only spent under Kenny Anthony $2 million, but that $2 million seems to have done a lot more than the $10 million they're claiming that they're spending every single year on school rehabilitation.
As with the last school year, $10 million was allocated for school rehabilitation projects on the island. Dr. Hilaire noted that the current administration announced many plans to better the education system, but at the 3-year mark, he says that the UWP administration's actions speak louder than words.
A lot was said 3 years ago about the state of the education system and how it will be made better. Remember our Prime Minister making a number of announcements about how much money they'll be spending on rehabilitation of schools. He spoke about a new school curriculum. He talked about the relevance of the education system. And the mantra was that things will be fixed, that they are the executors and they will get it right and things will be done properly. 3 years later, we still have not gotten it right. And I'm not saying there are not challenges. There are a lot of challenges, but certainly we expected by now a lot of those issues would have been resolved, and they're still not been resolved. In fact, I believe our education system is totally off course now.
Minister Rigobert has said that moving forward, some of the administrative hurdles that cause delays in the reopening of schools will be addressed. According to Dr. Rigobert, education is of highest priority to the government. She says a strong education system is an investment in the people, future, and human capital towards the creation of the St. Lucia that the UWP administration is committed to building. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Thank you, Jacques. Many may be afraid to speak on the issue of suicide, often opting to brush the matter under the rug and keep it hush-hush. But the month of September brings the issue to light as it is regarded as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Calypso monarch Tikaro, no stranger to speaking on societal ills, offers up his sentiments regarding Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and also provides advice for the downtrodden who might be contemplating taking their own life. More in this report.
Suicidal thoughts can affect anyone, regardless of gender, background, and age. Though suicidal thoughts are considered normal, it oftentimes highlights more serious issues, yet the topic still remains taboo. The month of September is observed as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, aimed at removing the stigma from the discussion. The month is also an opportunity to reach out to those affected by suicide and connect those suffering with suicidal thoughts or tendencies to treatment services. Calypso Monarch 2019 Dennis Tikaro Leo says the observation, though difficult, is one that is absolutely necessary.
And I think it's a very, very important discussion to raise, especially in the time that we live. I think suicide has become a very serious issue. I mean, we have the issue of murder and all of those things having to deal with, but a lot of people seem to have turned a blind eye to the fact that suicide is a very prevalent behavior in our society. And it certainly adversely affects the society, because I'm sure at the end of it, many children are left without parents, many families are left to grieve. And I think today being Suicide Prevention Day, this month being Suicide Prevention Month, is actually a very laudable thought. I think those who actually came up with the idea to actually have such a month, I say hats off to them.
Leo says the understanding remains that stress levels and coping mechanisms of each individual may be different. However, he says persons having thoughts of taking their own life should do everything in their power to work against that mental state.
I'm not in any way forgetting the fact that people are different and stress levels vary and people relate to stress in different ways. So, persons who actually have the thought, I just want to advise you that probably the better thing to do is to speak with somebody, speak with people. I'm sure there are avenues that you can go to. You can go to your close friend. You can probably go to your teacher. You could speak to a policeman. You could speak to a doctor. You could speak to... There are persons in the society who could help you. No matter what, the mind is a very tough thing. And sometimes what they say to you may not necessarily resonate with you. But at least if that is done, somebody can help you, somebody can be with you. Because most suicides are done in the absence of other people. So maybe if you spend more time socializing, and then probably you need to consider God in all of this. Consider ecclesiastical association. Maybe you need to join some kind of church, some movement.
Furthermore, Leo condemns the act of bullying, which he highlights as a factor oftentimes linked to individuals resorting to taking their own life.
I want to advise those persons who do that, those who bully other persons, those who call them names, those who abuse people psychologically, abuse them with their words. I want you to know that if somebody commits suicide and it was as a result of you saying something to them, you could actually be responsible for it. And I don't know that you want to live your life knowing that you're the one who was saying all of those bad things or doing all of those bad things to that individual. And look now, he's no more and it's because of you. So probably you need to consider not doing it, so in that way, in no way you will be responsible for that individual's ultimate decision to take their lives.
St. Lucia's suicide rank as of 2019 is 95 out of 183 countries, and the World Health Organization suicide rate of 2018 reveals St. Lucia has a total suicide rate of 7.8%, with female suicide at 2.2%, while male suicide peaked at 13.3%. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Prime Minister Alan Shastney will travel to Geneva on the week of the 9th of September to attend the UN conference on developing resilience to the effects of climate change in small island developing states like St. Lucia. The frequency of severe hurricanes in the Atlantic has roughly doubled over the last 2 decades, and climate change appears to be the reason. Prime Minister Shastney says efforts by his administration have been effective, and the next step will be the development of a foundation specifically equipped to deal with the challenges of climate change in small island developing states.
We feel from a practical perspective, after going through this thing for 3 years at this point, developing a foundation specifically to deal with resilience for the SIDS might be the best way. Very difficult to convince the international organizations to change their protocols or their governance structures to be able to provide funds on a timely basis, because this is constant state of fear that we're living in, and it's more fearful when you know that you're not ready.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.